My name is Liam, and I buy dead people's history. I run a small antique shop in an isolated, foggy town in Oregon. Last month, I went to an estate sale at an old, abandoned farmhouse. The family had vanished back in 1994. In the basement, buried under layers of dust, I found a heavy, vintage reel-to-reel tape recorder, a beautiful wooden Panasonic model. Inside it was a single, unlabeled magnetic tape. The auctioneer sold it to me for $20. He just wanted it out of his sight. That night, inside my empty shop, the rain was pouring against the glass. I cleaned the machine, plugged it in, and pressed the heavy mechanical play button. The plastic reels began to spin slowly. For the first 30 seconds, there was nothing but the low, warm hiss of empty tape. Then a sound emerged. It was a child's voice, a little girl giggling, but the laughter was strangely slowed down, distorted.
"Daddy,
She whispered.
the man in the wall is playing the skin game again."
My skin crawled. I reached out to stop the tape, but then a second voice broke through. It was a man, sobbing, breathing heavily.
"I locked the basement door,
The man wept into the microphone.
but he didn't come through the door. He grew out of the shadows under the floorboards."
Suddenly, a violent, wet, tearing sound echoed from the speakers, like wet cloth being ripped apart. The man let out a blood-curdling shriek that was cut off instantly by a loud mechanical. The tape went silent, just the static hiss remaining. I sat there frozen, staring at the spinning reels. That was when I noticed the smell of old, stagnant blood and wet hair filling my entire shop. I couldn't sleep that night. The sound of that tearing flesh kept echoing in my skull. The next day, I decided to do something stupid. I wanted to see if anyone on the internet knew about the 1994 farmhouse incident. I set my phone up on a tripod and started a live broadcast on Reddit for my followers. I wanted to play the tape live to see if anyone recognized the voices. "Hey guys," I said to the camera, "listen to this tape I found." I pressed play. The audio began. The little girl's whisper, the man sobbing, the wet tearing sound. The comment section on my live stream went absolutely insane. "Fake. Creepy. Turn it off." But then one user named Shadow_94 commented something that made my heart stop. "Look behind you." On the monitor. Behind my desk, I had a large black security monitor displaying the live feed on my shop's showroom. I slowly turned my head to look at it. The showroom was dark, lit only by the street lamps outside. On the screen, I saw myself sitting at my desk, broadcasting. But then, the tape on the reel-to-reel recorder hit that violent click sound. On the security monitor, the reflection of my shop window changed. The glass didn't show the rainy street anymore. It showed a massive, impossibly tall creature pressed flat against the glass from the outside. It had no face, just a giant, wet vertical slit down the middle of his head. I whipped my head around to look at the real window. It was empty. Just rain. I looked back at the monitor. The creature on the screen was now inside the room. It was standing directly behind my chair. It raised a long, skeletal arm and placed a single pale finger onto my shoulder. In real life, in that exact second, I felt a bone-chilling, freezing pressure drop onto my left shoulder. I screamed, throwing myself forward off the chair. My phone fell, breaking the live stream. I didn't look back. I sprinted out of the shop into the freezing rain, leaving the door wide open. I drove to a hotel 3 towns away, shaking, crying, locking myself in the bathroom. I stayed there for 3 days until the police finally agreed to check the shop. When they went in, they found the shop completely untouched. No monster, no signs of a break-in, except for one thing. The vintage tape recorder was gone. They thought I had a psychological breakdown. I never went back to that shop. I closed the business, sold the inventory online, and moved to a small, modern apartment in Seattle. No antiques, no old things, everything new. But yesterday was my birthday. A heavy cardboard box arrived at my door with no return address. I thought it was a gift from my sister. I opened it. Inside, resting on a bed of old newspaper, was a single black modern cassette tape. Written on it in permanent marker was my name, Liam. My hands shook so badly I could barely breathe. I didn't want to play it. I threw it in the trash chute of my building. I went to bed, praying, trying to forget. But at exactly 3:14 a.m., I woke up. The apartment was dead silent, except for a faint, rhythmic sound coming from inside my bedroom closet. It was the sound of magnetic tape spinning. I froze in my bed, paralyzed with absolute terror. The closet door slowly clicked open an inch, and from the darkness inside, a voice drifted out. It wasn't the little girl. It wasn't the man. It was my own voice. It was a recording of me from 3 days ago, screaming in my hotel bathroom. But the recording was slowed down, distorted, wet. And beneath my screaming voice, I could hear the wet, rhythmic clicking of fingers tapping against the inside of the closet door, moving closer to my bed.